Soundstripe.
Welcome to South End Supporters of St. Louis City SC Podcast, powered by Ready to Live Wellness and coming at you from the Warrior Logo Wear Studio. Eric Cole alongside the Monday morning center back, Dave Wyckoff, as our buddy DH David Heck is still out of town in New York, so we will keep this going. Dave, have you been to New York before?
I have. Went there earlier this year. Had been there. Oh no, I'm sorry. Went there right around Christmas last year, 24, and then was there 2019. Doug, was it something like that around Christmas same time? I love it, man. It's one of my favorite places in the world. So much going on. You could just literally not stop moving for 24 hours and not see a tenth of the city. When I'm talking about the city, I'm talking about Manhattan. But yes, very cool place. And I get it. Some people aren't city people, but it's a fascinating place to visit. I think it'd be an incredible place to try to live for any amount of time. But yeah, I've been there.
Do you have a go-to like food that you want to check out when you go to New York? I know pizza is like the obvious thing, but to me, like I know pizza is one thing because New York style pizza is my favorite. But I feel like when I go out there, I want to get some bagels. They just make bagels and like everything that you can add on to those bagels looks so much better than anything you'd get here.
Yeah, I haven't had an actual like deli bagel from there, but that would be on the list. We went to one of the original Rays for the first time this time because my son Dex is a pizza fiend and he loved it. Man, I don't know. Everything is good. That's the thing. It's such a cultural melting pot, and you've got all the little neighborhoods, and you can go eat anywhere, and you could eat you could eat different type of food every day for a month. No, it's just I can't even narrow anything down. It's all been really good. Little Italy, been to Little Italy twice, and those were both really good food experiences, like more authentic Italian than the Americanized Italian. Really, really good.
Yeah, I know that's my wife's. She really wants to get out to New York. I've only been to Cooperstown, and when I went, I think I was 5, and we took the train. My dad and my grandpa, and we went to go to the Baseball Hall of Fame. But it was one of those like I was just too young to truly appreciate that trip,
Yeah.
and I really like look back and wish I would have taken that in a little bit more to go back. But yeah, maybe one day. It's funny because I've always said like I'm not really a big city type of person, but every time we go to Chicago, I'm like I really kind of enjoy being in the city.
Yeah.
Like I think it's something nice to go and visit every once in a while. But
What's wild about New York is like, and Chicago is one of my favorite cities I've ever been to. Also, granted, I'm not super worldly, but like as far as like cities in the country, I absolutely love Chicago. New York, Manhattan makes it look like a small town. And,
really,
it's just my experiences in Chicago as opposed to my experiences in New York, and maybe it has to do with time of the year too. I'm sure if I went to Chicago like around Christmas time or around like the St. Patrick's Day parade in Chicago would be just wild. But yeah, it makes it, and it's obviously hyperbole, but Manhattan is just so just the volume of people and businesses and just life. It's really wild.
yeah, no, I agree. One thing I always love is those videos where people will be like, you want to see people on the street who aren't from New York, and somebody just screams at the top of their lungs, and they're like, you see the people looking? They're not from New York. And it's just like, I love that is
It's
like
very
something
true.
you only get in like a big city and stuff like that.
Quick New York story. One of the things that New Yorkers being New Yorkers, so we were walking around like Fifth Avenue, and there's so many businesses. You've just got deliveries and couriers and just people flying by on bikes and cabs and Ubers and everything all the time. It's just so wild. But we were walking and we see this delivery truck pull up and on like a side street, and a guy gets out and he's got like 3 cones and he just blocks off this side street. Okay, probably can't just block off a side street to do your deliveries, but the most New York thing ever, cars just start running the cones over. Just
Yeah,
not blocking the side street. Katie loved that. Like that was one of the most New York things that we ever seen. And man, like if you're a fan of history, or if you're a fan of just like art museums and just just like just being a tourist in general, there's no better place. I mean, you can go to the Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island and of Modern Art and the Tenement Museum. Like, there's just I don't have enough time to tell you all the things. And these are just some of
Yeah.
the things that I've seen. There's dozens and dozens of things that I've never gotten the chance to. So yes, if there's any piece of advice for you, it's to take your wife to New York City. Just the two of you. Have Brenda or somebody watch the littles, and just the two of you go to New York for 3 or 4 days. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, she'll really appreciate that plug that you just put in there. So thanks for that, Dave.
It's
But
not
we're not
super
welcoming.
expensive.
No, no. But we're not welcoming a team from the East Coast. We're welcoming a team from the West Coast coming to town this Saturday, 3:30 kickoff time, as City will face the LA Galaxy, and we will have our preview of them in our STL Kalachi preview. And Dave, I'll let you take it from here.
STL Kalachi Match Week Preview brought to you by STL Kalachi in Sunset Hills, 1530 South Kirkwood Road, at the intersection of Kirkwood Road and Watson next to Highway 44, home of the original chicken enchilada kolache. Actually made a pilgrimage out there last week, picked up some breakfast kolachis for the work crew. It was one of our colleagues' birthday, and we were already going to lunch, so I figured, hey, we go get some breakfast kolachis, get everybody set up for the day. Had a ton of calories, but everybody loved it. We went with bacon, egg, and cheese, chorizo, egg, and cheese, sausage, egg, and cheese, and of course the sausage gravy, which is the 204 Oracle favorite. But you can also get the meatball, you can get the Philly cheese, and they will cater to all your tastes. They've got the sweet, they've got the savory. They make breakfast better, but they also can make your day better. So check them out, 1530 South Kirkwood Road, the intersection of Kirkwood Road and Watson, next to Highway 44, home of the original chicken enchilada kolache. Same thing with kolache. We make breakfast better. They also make this match week preview better. LA Galaxy come to town for, stop me if you've heard this before, an afternoon game, because this team is not allowed to play at night. These two teams are not allowed to play at night.
No, I don't understand. I don't really like. And you look
There's
at like
the
a lot of
travel
LA games, they're
and
like all like
yeah. Maybe it's just
daytime
the
games.
travel and the time. Maybe, I don't know. Go figure. But so the reverse fixture, the game at LA Galaxy was kind of the high point of the season. Really, it was a
Yeah,
3-1 win, which it feels like a lifetime ago now. It was the hashtag revenge game against Marco Royce for spurning City, which we thank him for doing. Now he will not be a part of this game, by the way. Neither will Ricky Puig, and neither will Cerrillo, as he is suspended from this match for a red card. Wild about this matchup and just the series between these two teams. You know, City have never lost to the LA Galaxy. 5 matches against the LA Galaxy. City are two wins, 3 draws, no losses. That's pretty
I
impressive.
feel like or you're just tempting fate by
Or I'm
bringing that
setting them
stat
up
out there.
Yeah. I could be.
Like,
I could be. But I mean,
Yeah.
you look at the game. You look at last year. The LA Galaxy won the MLS Cup, and City had their number then. So, and you've got a City. You've got a City team who I believe are in the process, and I think you also believe are in the process of improving, or in the process of sort of picking themselves up. LA Galaxy are coming off a 2-0 win against Real Salt Lake. Real Salt Lake really struggling right now, which is wild to see. Really thought, well, yeah, I mean, when they lost Chicho, you kind of thought that might hurt them a little bit, but you really didn't think that they would struggle as much as they have. But we're not worried about them this week. Galaxy are currently the lead for the Wooden Spoon after getting their first win last week. They sit in 15th place with 7 points. City sit in 14th place, but with 14 points. So this is a big match in the battle for the Wooden Spoon this week, if we want to avoid that sort of embarrassment. Kind of expecting to have basically the same lineup. And again, this episode is airing on Thursday, but we're recording on Monday night. So as of right now, we don't know what the side is going to look like. We know that Teutschert had that hamstring injury. Footmob's got him out until July. Don't expect to see him because I don't even think he was in training last week. Same thing with Durkin. He didn't train. Leuven didn't train. Nilsson didn't train. Alm didn't train. So any of those guys end up in the starting 11 or even in the side, we'll consider that a bonus. We won't know probably until Wednesday what their practice participation will be, if any. So your team will probably look a lot like that 4-2-3-1 that we saw last week against Portland, hopefully with some more goals. if we go to the odds makers this week, DraftKings, I don't have the DraftKings odds. I went with FanDuel odds. City are a favorite in the two-way bet, a minus 160 tie no bet. LA Galaxy a plus 136 in the tie no bet. I don't think there's really a whole lot of value in betting the Galaxy here. I think City are going to be a lot better at home under Critch. I hope that it's a nice day. I know we're looking at rain on Friday. I haven't checked the weather on Saturday yet. Let's take a look real quick. So there's a chance rain and an 87-degree high, so that game will be right in the middle of the afternoon, so it'll be a hot one. But I feel like City are they're in an okay place after Portland. Like, obviously you want to drop 3 points, but being at home, being in front of the supporters, I think we find a way to get this done. Calm down a little bit, finish some of the chances, being back home on the grass instead of being on that nasty, nasty turf. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts, first thing that steps out is just don't play down to your competition. I feel like City's really shown up a lot so far this year against higher ranked teams, and we especially have seen that in the past 2 games. San Jose and Portland are very good teams as far as in the West especially. But like, we can't look at this as like, oh, this is a team struggling coming in. We got to look at this as a team of like, let's see how many we can finish off again, and then get this train on the right track, really rolling. Because you look at it as like, if you pick up 2 wins and 1 loss in 3 games, like a couple weeks ago, you'd take that in a heartbeat. So you got to look at this as like, let's get this thing, let's show that this form isn't just like, yeah, that's great, we're playing better. It doesn't matter if you're still not picking up results. And at home, we've highlighted this so many times, and we saw this with Portland, like what a home atmosphere can do. Like, you have to take advantage of that. You have to finish off this team. What I've noticed a lot with LA Galaxy is like, it seems like they tend to get goals somewhat early on teams, because I'll like be checking in scores throughout either City's games or whatever, and I'll be like, damn, the Galaxy's winning, and then I find out that they lose it late. So you have to try and contain them, especially early. And I feel like as the game goes on, especially with their injury woes and everything, not that we're not dealing with our own, but like, a home atmosphere can help you through an injury-prone team later in the game better than away team. So I think we can't make the mistake we made against Portland and not put away a team early, and especially a struggling team. Man, you can really put them away early. You think about that Portland game, like if we go up 3-0 early on against a team like the Galaxy, that can really shut them down. So, and especially missing some of their bigger players. Now, with that said, they still have Paintsel and Peck, who have both, done us dirty in the past. So you can't just think that they don't have weapons that we can't, or that will handle easily. They still have weapons that have also come damaged to us early. So containing Painsel's speed, just Peck's craftiness out on the wings is going to be very important in this game. Especially, I'm imagining we still see Tots and Reed getting that starting lineup, making sure you shut them down and keep them shut down, because I think where they're really weak is throughout the rest of the pitch, midfield, defense. So we got to take advantage of that early. And the other thing we got to realize is, like, LA Galaxy, as much as their struggles are going, and I know their goal differential is wildly different than ours, but they've scored more goals than we have this year. So, like, we can't be looking at this team as, like, if anything, we got to be thanking the Galaxy for being so bad this year, because imagine the fire burning had the Galaxy even gotten a few results throughout this year. We'd be the ones looking at it like this is just a desperate season. So, but to me, it's just you can't look at this. You got to just bury this team. You got to almost look to embarrass this team at home and play up. Show them that you're on the right trajectory forward and not look at it as anything like that. So containing those players, finishing off our chances, feels like we say that every week. Contain these 2 and finish off your chances, and we'll have a good chance. Like, it's with everything else that's going on this season, it's a repeat. But the thing is I really do feel like if we can do those things, we can come out with a hefty win. Not just a win, but I feel like we really could come out with a hefty win.
Yeah, you can't let them start off on the front foot. They're coming off a win. They're coming off their first win, so they're probably going to be feeling good, right? Like, think how good City felt after that win off San Jose. Think how good we felt as fans. So be an early kick. Everybody's schedules are going to be thrown off. The one thing that LA will be in a bit of a travel routine, so it won't be that much. It won't throw them off that much because they already know they're coming into a hostile environment. City with probably a different training schedule at home this week and then an earlier start. You can't allow yourself to get dragged down into their game. You got to play your game. You got to play your high press, get on them early, pop a few, end it before it even starts. My prediction for this game is another 3-1 City win with Zhao Klaus picking up not one but 2 goals.
Ooh, ooh. I hope that's true because you got to get your goal scorers scoring. And
Yep.
we were kind of hoping that we were picking up off that with the SJ game. Clearly, it didn't happen because he missed quite a few in the Portland game. But I'm loving that. I'm going just a little bit more safer, which is normally not my line of thinking. Because I'm clearly as a Man U fan, I'm like, dude, we're gonna beat every team 3-0 this year. So and clearly, look how that worked out. But I'm gonna go 2-0. I'm thinking that if we can really just shut, I think if we can shut, those two players especially out and just I hope, and it seems like Critch is more this style to just repeat what's working and keep it going and play the best 11 that he has. I think he'll repeat that out there. I think we've seen the style working, and now it's just coming down to finishing. And I think the Galaxy struggle there. I think if we can contain them and put them away, I'm going 2-0, and hopefully the rain holds off. Hopefully there's somewhat of a breeze coming from anywhere, so it's not feeling as hot as we know it's going to feel. Are you going to be at the game?
Oh yeah.
Have you already put into your mind of maybe a food option for the day?
No, that's a good question because it's going to be a little more warm. I did the pork belly skewers. Man, what did I eat at the women's game? Oh my goodness gracious, we haven't even talked about this yet. Holy crap! So I finally tried a damn fine hand pie at the women's game on Tuesday, and it was the bacon, chicken, cheddar,
Yes.
whatever it was, with like the side of their ranch. Eric, I'm not kidding you. It felt like the heavens opened up just for me with this one thing, and there is a strong comparison between a damn fine hand pie and then the empanadas. The empanadas for bang for your buck. The empanada price point is one of the best things in the park. Like $6, really good eat, really basic with the mayo ketchup stuff. It's fantastic. This damn fine hand pie was so good. It was flaky. It was properly filled. It's more like they call it a hand pie, but it's more to me almost like a stuffed croissant. And if anybody's had it, they'll know what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
Oh my God, it was so good, and it comes with this like ranch dipping sauce that was just perfect. And while I was there, just because I was feeling extra large, I got their gooey butter cake, and it was almost more like a gooey butter cheesecake. I ate it with my hands because I'm a filthy animal. It was really, really good. Definitely a top 3 meal that I've had at the park. So if I fall into a rut and find my way back to damn fine hand pies, it won't be a bad day. What I really wanted to do was I wanted to go to Beast, and I think I'll have to pre-order something from Beast this time. Maybe is it the brisket nachos that Beast has?
Yes. No, the
I think
brisket
I
mac
think
and
maybe
cheese.
brisket mac
Maybe
and
they
cheese.
have
Maybe
nachos too. But
I think I'll go with Beast. I think I'll go with something from Beast on Saturday. Yeah, that's my prediction.
so I didn't really. I kind of took them off my radar as far as like stuff to try because I remember like seeing like it was more on the expensive side. But when you said that, I was like, let me just go back and check it out. And honestly, I think I'm going to copy your order. I think I'm going to go with that
Eric.
chicken bacon cheddar ham pie, and then I think I'm going to go with their because I'm just looking at the picture of this, and your description of like it looking like almost like cheesecake, I think is a very accurate description. And as I mentioned last week, like cheesecake's up there, and was it you or DH that? No, DH is not a big gooey butter cake guy, right?
No,
Like he
yeah,
said,
doesn't like it.
so I am a gooey butter cake guy. So
Oh
like,
man, you'll love
so
it.
yeah, so this is where because I think one of my favorite things I had last year was when Farm Truck had the caramel apple gooey butter cake, and that's like as far as flavor combinations. I think I said before that caramel apple is up there. So I think I'm going to mimic your order this weekend. So we've got the order. We've got the hopeful results coming our way. I mean, what more could you ask from
We
STL
predicted
Classy Preview?
scores. Sorry,
Yeah.
we predicted scores and meals. That's a first. I like that. I think we need to weave that in every week.
Yeah.
Scores and meals. Yes.
Scores and meals, because at least if anything, one of them's probably going to be a guarantee. So you
Yeah,
got to look at
yeah,
it as,
yeah.
I mean, 50% coming out of this podcast, I think is a not bad result. If you
50% of the
if you
time,
ask
it
me.
works every time.
There you go. So yeah, DH would love that with his cologne stuff going on right now. That would have been perfect. But that is your STL Kalachi preview of LA Galaxy. Again, the game time 6:14 is going to start at 3:30. So hopefully we see you there at the game. And again, go check out STL Kalachi at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in St. Louis. And again, this is our slobs episode, so you know we're going to keep the food stuff going with our Felix's Pizza Pub. Make sure you go check them out at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown. If you can't be there for the daytime game, we experienced it, a couple weeks ago. No better thing than a good day game out. And go check yourself out with the City on Tap Bar at Felix's Pizza Pub. Go get you some of those pizzas, those wings. So many beers on tap. Like, honestly, if you can't be in the stadium, that's the next best place to go. And so we will get into these Felix's Pizza Pub South End submissions. So we will kick this one off on Twitter from St. Louis City SC fan. Critch Ball proves our playing style works at an MLS level. We just don't seem to have the roster to execute it. I will always support City, but it doesn't feel like there's much to be excited about currently. I think there's stuff to be excited about. I think it just always looks so easy that the talent isn't there. You named off what, 6 pretty much potential starters that aren't going to be included. Yeah, I mean, it was funny. Like you mentioned it, I think when the starting 11 came out, you're like, well, that's about as close as we'll get to our like true starting 11 as far as the back line goes. But then you look at the rest of it and it's just a jumbled mess. You still have either players playing out of position or you're missing a lot of players. So it's tough to judge. I would really be excited to see Critch Ball with a fully healthy starting 11. I think that's where I still think there's, we talked about on the Tuesday episode, I think we're missing just a true outright poacher goal scorer that's just going to be in that race for maybe the Golden Boot. But that's all we're looking for them to do is get those goals in there and let the rest of the team do the work. But with what we have, I would love to see this exciting style of play with a fully healthy starting 11.
Yeah, same. You got to manage your expectations, man. Like, this is a complete mid-season reset with an injured squad. You really need to manage what your expectations are going to be for this team. Like, playoffs are not a realistic goal right now. The realistic goal is to get the roster healthy and to get them set up to be competitive on a weekly basis, and start thinking about what your team's going to be moving forward. I mean, we're only in June. A lot of crazy things can happen, but the focus shouldn't be on the playoffs. The focus should be on, let's develop a sustainable style that can be repeated through your entire squad and go from there, man. Try to ruin some people's seasons and, make some waves and get people thinking about, next year.
I think also if you can do those things, the playoff picture will come. I think,
yeah,
but you can't.
It's not crazy.
You can't go to steps.
Possibility, but
right. You can't be focusing on steps 3 and 4 when you still haven't established steps 1 and 2. So exactly. I think that's where we're at. Next one we have is from Instagram from our man Matthew Keller, but I want to save it till a little bit later just because I think it ties into some submissions that'll be coming for later on. So we'll make our way over to the Facebook world and we will kick this one off as long as the solar flares quit working out still this week. On my end, we'll kick it off with the great American Jeff Thornborough. He said, I am curious to know what was the word phrase that each of you said after that Timbers goal. I shouted the big F-bomb and walked directly outside. I am over it now. Look forward to the upcoming match. I really like those afternoon matches. I still love this club and will continue to support them with the same passion. The South State supporter, a great American, Jeff Thornborough. Well, luckily or unluckily for me, I was at work watching this on my phone. So if I'd have dropped the big F-bomb out loud, that probably wouldn't have went over too well. So if anything, it helped subdue my kind of frustrations. But it sounds like me and him kind of had the same sort of like post-game bring down where it was like, man, for about an hour, it was just like, God, again, like just, the text I was sending to you guys kind of echoed that type of stuff. But I'm really trying to change my outlook, especially with like City and stuff, of just like, all right, what can I, in this kind of transition weird period that we're in, what can I find out of this game that I liked more so than focusing on what didn't happen again. And so if I'm looking at it this way, I'm still seeing, if anything, and what we talked about is you can't lose and be boring. I feel like we're losing, but we're getting out of the boring atmosphere. Chances are being created, and we're seeing the stuff that we're kind of wanting to see with the personnel we're wanting to see that we have available to us. So I mean, I'm like I said, I'm liking at least that aspect.
Yeah, agreed. Absolutely. And I don't even know that I reacted with a swear word or a word of curse. I think it was just kind of a shaking my head in disappointment. I know Zoe did.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Well, I will say this. I will also say this, Jeff, is good or bad. Typically, the same sort of words are flying out of my mouth, and I learned once my daughters were repeating them before I was even saying them. I think it was last year. We were watching a game, and the other team scored, and my initial reaction would normally be this. And my 5-year-old at the time, Delaney, goes, "Ah, damn it!" And she beat me to it, and it was just like, okay, maybe Daddy needs to start. The other thing I started to learn is that we thought it was funny is my reactions at home. Typically, my dog Rooney was scared, so the whole game he was just staring at me, concerned for me because he thought I was upset and worried. So he'd just stare at me. So we got a kick out of that. So I was like, you know what? So I don't get my daughter swearing all the time and my dog a panic attack. Maybe I'll try and bring it down a little bit at the
Poor
house.
Rooney. It's bad enough that you named him what you named him, and then you're just
The greatest player to ever play the Premier League.
Oh, my
yeah,
God.
that's what a terrible thing.
You can't really think that.
I truly believe that 100% with my whole heart. I will stand by that statement.
That's gross.
He's at least this, and I don't care what you Arsenal freaks want to say. Like he's the
I'm
greatest.
not one of those. Shot at Tommy Beck for no reason.
Oh, I know. I'm just putting that out there ahead of time before Beck comes through. Is I put him as the greatest striker that's ever played in the Premier League. So
he's not even the best one to ever play for Man U.
He's their leading goal scorer of all time.
That doesn't make him the best. Like you're going to say that he's better than Ronaldo?
I mean, with what was asked of him later in his career, dropping back to midfield and still becoming still supplying goals as well as finishing them off.
That's him being a midfielder.
But he adjusted his game. Ronaldo never adjusted his. If anything, Ronaldo got easier as he went through his career.
Oh my God, you're going to bring the Ronaldans out after us now. Oh my!
You were the one who said the last episode. All he does is see. You bait me into this stuff to where I say something hot button, and then you love to just sit back and stir.
Don't make Wayne Rooney out to be more than he is. He's a great player, but come on now.
I'm standing by my statement. Next, we'll go to somebody who would definitely agree with that statement because she should, is my wife, Kristen Cole. She just said, "I'd like to just say I have no idea how you can't hear our kids in the background on every episode. Wow, they are loud. I hear them. Do you guys? I don't think you do. Through
No, very rarely. If anything, I really don't ever hear them. Now, you could probably hear mine. They're stomping around upstairs now.
Well, it's probably because I typically hear mine because the hardwoods. I believe they practice tap dancing every time we decide to record the episode. It just seems like, or
they want to be a part of the show.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't? And who would?
And who wouldn't? Speaking of those Arsenal fans, we'll go to one, and that is Tommy Beck. He said, "Frustrating loss, but at least the product looks better. It's at least watchable. Music question: what are the songs you like from bands that you otherwise hate? For me, it's You Know You're Right by Nirvana, Suck My Kiss from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and Bullet the Blue Sky by U2. So I think we did this one or something similar to it.
We did.
So
we did the same thing.
How about we do similar? What's a song from a band you love that you just don't like?
Oh, that's a good one.
Does that make sense?
Like that.
So for me,
first of all, can I stop you? Tommy Beck is very close to being suspended from submitting. I won't allow the Red Hot Chili Peppers to be portrayed in any light that's negative. And I found out that KVK, we are band brothers. They're also his favorite band. So I know that we have the support of No Goal Patrol. So let's just put that out there. So we're going with songs from a band that you love, but that you don't like. I got
one right off the head.
If you're locked and loaded, go for it.
Yeah. So for me, it's All the Small Things by Blink-182. I think we were kind of talking about last week about which once we got off like air, as always, you think about like I thought of so many like obscure songs that I'm like
Yeah.
I was like what I think it should have been, and maybe we'll have this one in a future South End submission is like best one hit wonders. Because what
Oh
kept
yeah.
popping into my head were like one hit wonders like I'm Blue by Eiffel 65 or Barbie Girl. Like those are obscure songs, you know.
That was
But one
yeah.
thing I mentioned we kept talking about was like deep cuts from bands, and when we were saying that is like how they're some of your favorites, and how sometimes some of the more popular songs by those bands end up becoming like, just
Yeah.
overplayed for you. And for me, like I always say this a lot, but like if you ever love a song, you don't want to ever hear it on Z1077 here in St. Louis because you're gonna hear it and you're gonna hear it and you're gonna hear it. And to me, it was just simply a song. And even I remember seeing an interview with Travis Barker one time. They were like, "What's one song that you don't enjoy playing?" And he was like, "All the Small Things." And he was just echoing kind of the similar thing. He's like, "I'm just a little over it," but he's like, "I know we have to play it every night because you don't play it,
Yeah.
and people are gonna be like, how do you not play that one?" So for me, yeah, just All the Small Things by Blink-182 is probably my least favorite song by them.
Yeah, I'll go with Led Zeppelin, "Fool in the Rain." I don't like that era of Zeppelin. I don't like "Fool in the Rain." I don't really like "All of My Love" either. I believe they're on the same album. It's just too far deviated from what I love
Mm.
about Led Zeppelin. Even like the psychedelic stuff, like "No Quarter" and "Dazed and Confused." I like that world, but I don't like those two from LZ.
I loved your
So
Zeppelin
good
shout, by the way.
question.
One thing you said was that I really related to was that you became a fan of them later in life. And as
Yeah.
somebody who I think we were both raised by dads who listened to Keishi and just we grew up with
Hmm.
Keishi, my dad loves Zeppelin. And
Yep.
I've always listened to him and like there was always like like every time I heard the song I recognized it, but I didn't really
Hmm.
truly like appreciate them honestly until I was with Kristen because South End Stan, I believe that's his number one
Yep.
band of all time. And that's where like I would get on these kicks and I would be like sometimes there's just a realization of like I find this the same with like bands like ACDC where there's there's way more songs that they have that you're like, oh man, I like this one. I like this
Yep.
one. And one thing I love about Spotify is you can just put, Zeppelin radio on and you're just like, oh yeah, this like
Yep.
you there's unskippable. And so
Exactly.
I love that you were kind of like that way too.
Yeah. My dad had, and I'm sure he had. I know he had Led Zeppelin 1, but the one that I picked up first in his collection was Led Zeppelin 4, and that's "Stairway to Heaven" and "Rock and Roll" and "Black Dog," which in the hierarchy of Zeppelin songs, they're very enjoyable to listen to. But I wouldn't say that like outside of Stairway, they're not like these classic. Like they are classics, but they're not like these musical masterpieces to me. Like I think like The Ocean is, or like like a jam like "Whole Lot of Love" is, stuff like that, or even like the, you want to call them more obscure, but like the "Communication Break." You know what I mean? They're a lot more. Those three songs are a lot cleaner. And then, like you said, later in life, when I started, and really, I give credit to my dad. I give credit to Stan. I give credit to getting introduced to Celebration Day. And I think it was our
Oh
buddy
yeah.
Ryan who told me about Celebration Day
Mhm.
first, or maybe it could have been Dave, whoever it was that introduced us to Celebration Day. That was like the first time I actually got to listen to those songs like live. Celebration Day is a cover band for anybody that doesn't know, a Led Zeppelin cover band. So no, man, we talk a lot of Zeppelin on this show. I like it. It's good
Hey,
stuff.
that'll probably bring in more viewers if
I
anything.
love
It'll
it.
help us. It'll
I
help
love it.
us. Next, we'll go to that guy, Gorski. Zach Gorski's back.
That's
He
my guy.
said,
That's my guy.
what do you guys think of an MLS form of pro rel? Grow the league to 40 teams, have a top 20 and top and bottom 20, can only win the championship if you're top in the league. Would probably need revenue share or something for all 40 teams to make it fair. I'm tired of talking about another loss. Let's focus on the positives. For instance, we still get another Saturday day game, and we still get to hear the double MCB twice a week. What the hell? This has got to be a
It's not me.
relative.
It's not
It's got to
me.
be. Is this like? Is
Why
this
is
like
it so
Kate?
hard to believe that people enjoy me?
I enjoy, sure. swoon fandom over that. I believe this is like Katie's burner account here. That's what
Oh,
Gorski
there's no
really
way.
is.
She doesn't like me that much.
Yeah, man. Which
So
yeah, I was. Did you ever run into Gorski the
I never
31st?
have. We're
Oh
gonna make it
man,
happen. Still, I
yeah,
never
we still
have.
got to make that happen.
But to
Oh
the
man,
submission, I don't think it ever happens because that would mean all the owners now would have to potentially give up their piece of the pie. And I think that in American sports, especially, you're way too far down the road because the TV contracts and the revenues are only going to keep getting bigger. So I don't think it ever happens. I think maybe you have expansion, but I don't think you'll ever have pro rel because there's not the consumer there's not the media consumer appetite. And man, Dave is so good in when we're talking about like sports business and media and stuff like that. But there's not the casual sports consumer content appetite for more than the MLS. Like, could you do it? Absolutely. You could take 10 USL teams. You could round out the top 40 whatever with USL teams, and the other ones would be okay markets, right? Like Indy 11 would be a decent market. The Louisville market would be good. You got the Portland Bangers now. That you could probably tap into that market eventually. Like you could do it, but you just wouldn't have the appetite to consume lower league soccer, and you don't have the roots. I think we never talk about like the roots in European football that these clubs that are fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh division have, man. Like these non-league clubs, some of them have been around for 100 years.
yeah.
Don't you forget about the Premier League is just what's visible, and the Championship is getting more visible. But you go to like League One, League Two, National League, and the non-league football, you've got some dedicated, diehard fan bases, albeit a lot smaller. They're neighborhood teams, but the clubs are hundreds of years old, and that is a built-in consumer base for some of these clubs that you won't have that in American sports because the game hasn't been played at a professional level long enough or on a widespread enough platform like an MLS, like a USL or USL2 to do that. Now, theoretically, if soccer continues to trend upward over the next 40 or 50 years, would it be in our lifetimes maybe a chance to do pro rel because you have people who've gravitated to soccer over the footballs and the baseballs of the world? Who's to say? But I just don't think it's a realistic thing to ask for pro rel for pro rel to be a thing in our lifetime. I'm sorry to
No,
say it because it'd be awesome.
yeah. I agree. I think you look at those teams over in England that are so small, but everything. But when their founding date starts with an 18, you got to realize like they've been around for. That's why like there's
Yeah.
still fans that go to those games. Second thing I think there's a couple things that. First off, I think we're kind of seeing how a pro rel system supporting a lower level team would work right now with the biggest sport in the country in football, the American football. I think the UFL, I mean, don't quote me on this because I don't know, but that's the point. I don't know. I don't think views are really strong. I think outside of St. Louis, attendance isn't really strong. And I think if you can't get, in an off season, let alone that, people to support a little bit of a lower level product, I don't think soccer you're going to really see that. At least to your point, not for a while. The other thing I think that needs to happen, even if it's going to be a discussion, is you have to get rid of the Apple contract. You have to make it more visible to the standard fan. You have to get people more familiar with just these teams and the league and everything going on. Not they have to go pay a subscription and then scroll down and try and find MLS and then pay on top of that MLS season pass. Like there shouldn't be, like David said to a great point, you should be able to go to a casino and watch your local team on the TV, and it should be more easily accessible. So I think those things, even if it's a discussion, needs to happen. I do think it wouldn't happen also because I don't think the owners would ever want to give up a piece of pie. The only way I would think it would work, at least if you're going to introduce it, is almost to Gorski's point, is wooden spoon in MLS goes down, and then top whoever wins the USL or
comes
whatever
up.
league comes up. You can only have it be like one team because I already know now. I always try to like relate things to like when I talk to South End Stan, who is getting more and more familiar with the league. He's a season ticket holder. He's been to many games. He watches the games and everything like that. Still to this day, trying to explain the whole pro rel system is kind of confusing to somebody who's just getting into it. I think first off, we got to continue to grow the game and as well just get people familiar with the league from an owner standpoint as well before that gets into discussion. Because then, no sport over in America is that way. Like, imagine the last place team and it's like, what happened to them? It's like, oh, they got dropped down last year because they did like, I think as somebody who's, grew up watching the pro rel system, I think it makes the seasons a lot more entertaining from start to finish because we talked about Championship Sunday and how, the battle for relegation sometimes is almost as exciting as the battle for the championship. Like and then also, we were just talking about in the last episode, the discrepancy between player pay and the owners and stuff. Like then you're also having to deal with that with money for which league you're in and all that. I think there's a lot of things that need to happen. To your point, I don't know if that'll happen in our lifetime. I hope it continues to grow so much, the sport in this country, that we can get to a point where there's a realistic discussion and the owners are more open to it because it makes sense. To me, first and foremost, I think we got to continue to make it more just the general game and the general league more available to the general public. And I think that to me is the first step. And one of the biggest steps in doing that is dropping the Apple contract and making it more easily available for people to watch.
You know
day
what
in
would
and day
be
out.
you know what would be more appetizing to me than pro rel right now, and I think more realistic and might actually fit what the MLS wants to do more is if they did like League MX does. League MX has two separate seasons. They have the Apertura and the Clausura. The Apertura is the opening season and it runs from July to December, and the Clausura, or the closing season, runs from January to May. I love that. They play everybody in the league once, and they have one champion for that session. And then they reset, and they play everybody in the league once again, and that's the champion for that session. I love that. Because like look right now, if we were like League MX style and City had gone through their first 17 and won 3 games. Okay. That season's over. New coach, transfer window, new signings, hope springs eternal. Plus you've got domestic cups, plus you've got Leagues Cup. I think that would be way more exciting than Pro Rel for the American appetite. That to me, I think that
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
love that. I would love that. It's a lot more like a season long tournament than it is a league. You know what I mean? And you don't get bogged down into, oh man, they've got this 34 game schedule or 36 game schedule and they've sucked and there's no way to help this team out, and I would love that. I think that would be awesome.
No, that's very interesting. I didn't know they did that way, but I think as far as to your point, appealing to the owners as well, because they would look at it as like, yeah, this season's a wash, but a couple weeks we start next season.
Exactly.
The other thing that is a real random thing that you would think about is I almost think it may even out the leagues as far as like, and I don't know how much is considered into this, but like you got to think like, yeah, first season will suck in St. Louis because it's going to be 100 degrees. But that second season, you're in the cooler weather, and then it's an easier sell for owners bringing in those bigger players as far as that type of stuff goes. Like, I didn't know they did that way. That is interesting. And to your point, I think if anything, that would be something that would more appetize owners as far as discussion.
I think it'd be cool. I mean, why not? Why not at least try it? You know what I mean? If you're looking for ways to kind of excite people, rather than like pro rel, or rather than switch up your schedule completely, this seems like a good compromise rather than going like full on like August to May like the rest of the world does, except Mexico. Clearly, I think it's worth a shot. I would be in favor of that.
That's interesting. Interesting. What else is interesting? Each week is our man Ryan Cadlick and his Cadlick Combat. He said, it's go time, round of champions. But before we do that, on last week's episode, you were saying that it would be nice to know who would be competing since you all don't know who these characters are. So next week, these characters will be competing. The Pink Panther, the cartoon version, not the crappy Steve Martin movie version. Inspector Gadget, Puss in Boots from Shrek, Randall Boggs from Monsters Inc., Jack Skellington from The Nightmare Before Christmas, Pumbaa from The Lion King, Kim Possible from Kim Possible, and Gru from Despicable Me. So those are going to be next week's challengers.
Now we can't.
Side note, just for a potential argument, The Nightmare Before Christmas is an awful movie. Thanks for throwing that in there, Cadlick. Now for the battle. Same rules as always. 1v8, 2v7, 3v6, 4v5. Random encounter. Fighters can use whatever they'd be carrying on them. Time of encounter. ChatGPT made the seeding. So these are our champions that we've picked throughout the past couple weeks. So at the 1 seed, we've got Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob. At 2, we've got Ronald McDonald. 3, Eric Cartman from South Park. 4, The King from Burger King. 5, War Turtle from Pokemon. 6, Heifer from Rocco's Modern Life. 7, Happy Gilmore from Happy Gilmore. And 8, White Goodman from Dodgeball. And for anybody who this is their first episode and has no clue what's going on, welcome. Because imagine coming in at that moment and being like, we've got Mr. Krabs taking on
White Goodman. He's taking on White Goodman. And that's the first matchup, the 1 versus the 8.
So we got 1v8 is going to be, we'll get into this. Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob is going to take on White Goodman from Dodgeball.
It's White, man.
He's just got, I agree.
He's got the
He's
hair,
got that,
the muscles, the attitude. He's White.
The psychoticness. Yeah, we were talking before about how him and did you ever go see Heavyweights? You never saw him.
No, I haven't yet. Sorry.
That's going to be your thing, like, people who are like
I'm not against it.
They hold pride in saying they've never seen Star Wars, and they're like,
I'm not against it at all. I find myself, I don't find myself sitting down to watch a lot of movies.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
If it's even series, like if they're hour-long episodes, I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to break this one up.
Yep.
So next at the 2 seed, we've got Ronald McDonald from McDonald's taking on Happy Gilmore, and all I can say in this one is I just want to say it, no matter what you think the outcome is like at some point, Happy Gilmore has to yell, "You're gonna die, clown!" Like that has to.
It's good.
That has to happen.
I think Happy takes him down. I think that clown goes down in the first round.
We know what a frustrating clown can do to Happy, and we've seen it, so I'm going to keep with that one. So 3, we've got Eric Cartman taking on Heifer from Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, this is a bloodbath. Cartman eats Heifer.
Yeah, I was going to say literally, he will like that. You remember the old celebrity death match that was on MTV?
Yeah.
And they would just have this. That would be like Cartman's like weird like deal.
Yeah.
He'd finish
cooks
it off.
Heifer.
And
He cooks Heifer.
Cook
And
Heifer.
eats him. Yeah.
Yep. And then our last first round matchup, we've got the King from Burger King taking on War Turtle from Pokemon.
Oh my God.
I mean, this is literally a Pokemon with powers that are built for battle.
But it's the King.
I think
he's so sneaky.
He's sneaky, but like even sneaky, like if he gets like too, he just goes to his shell and then waits it out.
He's got the scepter. Remember, he's got his scepter also. Yeah,
I just don't think you're getting anywhere near Pokemon.
The battle turtle has a distinct advantage in an actual battle. So I guess I'm going with War Turtle. War Tortoise.
All right. Good, because that's where I was at on that one. So we have got Eric Cartman taking on, the Battle of the Psychos. Eric Cartman taking on White Goodman in our next round. This is a good one. If I think this.
So Cartman's a cerebral assassin. White isn't too smart. Like, he's very emotional. He's devious, but I wouldn't say he's like cunning like Cartman is. Cartman is.
But do you think Goodman's too dumb to even play into Cartman's like wittiness?
I think Eric would play on his insecurities of being fat, and he would just
yes,
this is Cartman. Yeah,
you're right with that. He would go, which is so ironic that the fattest kid on the show is like making fun of Goodman in big parts that he has.
He's big bone.
Yes, and so we have War Turtle taking on Happy Gilmore. So again, I think you got a turtle built for battle. I just
It's really tough. Yeah, it's tough to beat a turtle that's like bred to kill.
and I don't think there's anything that like Happy would bring that I would say like
Yeah.
oh would be like a
Just blind
weakness.
aggression. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't think so. I think the final is Cartman and Cartman and
And
War
War
Turtle.
Turtle, which is boy, the Chat GPT for that
Yeah,
writing would
we
be
gotta let ChatGPT
fan.
handle that one.
We'll let Chat GPT.
I feel like War Turtle's still gonna win, but I think Cartman is about as well equipped mentally as one could be.
So my only line of thinking would be, and I love that we think this out, and then the next week we'll have the results and start the next
Yeah.
battle. But my line of thinking, so water type Pokemon are weak to electricity, and I just feel like
Oh,
Cartman is going to have some sort of weird way of coming up with
yeah,
electricity to
yeah.
like, you know, do something like that and be psychotic enough to bring it down. But I don't know. That'll be one of
Be
the
a good
funniest.
matchup. It's a
That'll be one
worthy
of the
matchup.
yes, a worthy matchup and one of the funniest chat GPTs to have typed in there. So those are the ones I have. Again, I do have one from Matthew Keller, but I think it's going to tie into some of the submissions that you prompted people on later. So I want to make sure I read that with them. So don't let me forget our buddy Matt Keller
Gotcha.
as you read some of those.
Gotcha. So the prompts came both from the No Goal Patrol and from myself, and they crossed over. We're going to start with Reddit. The prompt that came from No Goal Patrol, and I'll have you. Let's you and I go through these first, and then
Okay.
we'll run through the answers. So the prompt that came from No Goal Patrol were best deli meats, and then mine was this was on a conversation with KVK on Saturday, Mount Rushmore of Nick Cage movies. So let's start.
Nick Cage movies?
Yeah, Mount Rushmore of Nick Cage movies.
Oh
Like your
no.
top four Nicolas Cage movies. So I'm gonna start with the deli meats. It was mentioned in Discord. The Joya's hot salami is the A1 through Z of deli meats for me.
Okay.
It's that good. I'm a big I'm a big roast beef fan also, and that's actually my order at Joy's is the hot salami and roast beef on garlic cheese bread. And then I'm gonna go with almost like a Cajun turkey, like a little spice to my turkey. And then the fourth one, man, I don't know. Go ahead. I'll think about my fourth deli meat.
So this is. I wish I had more experience in delis, and I
You wish
know.
you had more experience with meat.
Yes, as always, I do. I do know that just from talks, I believe KVK came up with this last year. As far as Joyas go, I need to go check out Joyas. I know
Yes.
I'll probably get crucified for that, but I still haven't. But that's honestly what I've loved about doing this show and this show being slobs is that so many people have suggested so many like great spots that
Yeah.
it almost like peer pressures you into going and actually checking out those places. So
Pressure is good.
but it's not it's like the best form of peer pressure. Like go check
Yeah.
out these delicious foods. So for me, I'm a big turkey guy.
Yeah.
I love a good turkey club. So like anytime I see that, like as far as a deli goes, I love that because typically with turkey and clubs anyway, it comes with that honey mustard. And I've said this many times on the show. I Sweet Tooth. I will echo your Cajun turkey. I believe it was Schnucks or somebody had one that like you could tell the outer brim where
It's Schnucks.
it was cooked.
Schnucks has a really good Cajun turkey. Yep.
It has that to where it gives you just a subtle kick, but like man, you throw that with like good cheese and good bread, like
Yep.
that. I love that combination. On the flip side, I love a good sweet turkey as well, like a honey glaze or like, but almost like just a standard turkey that matches with the honey mustard to where
Okay.
like I love a
Yeah.
good turkey. Now, again going with that, I love a good honey ham, like good honey ham. But it's funny, like, and I'm sure you'll echo this. Like, I don't like necessarily when they're like the pre-packaged. I know that's typically what we would get just for cost sake, but like you got to get me like a thick sliced from the deli, you know.
Yeah.
And then, man, so I've I have never been as much of a big fan of salami as far as on a sandwich. Where I am a big fan of it is I believe a lot of places have this, but it's this. I eat it for a snack constantly, but it's this heavily peppered salami that it's like, you know, inch and a half like circles, but mixing that with like some pepper jack cheese and a Ritz cracker, it's one of those deals where I have to like tell myself only three more crackers. Like it's because I will just demolish the sleeve, and but it's
Yeah.
one of those like I don't think about that I'm just downing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because typically when I go meats, I a lot of times go chicken, but I don't think chicken translates as well to the deli world. Just me. I think it's better
it's like-
suited as
If it's like
a meat.
chicken that came off like a rotisserie and then on a sandwich, absolutely.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
But when
But you're
I
talking
think
about,
deli
like,
meat,
deli chicken.
I think like they
I like
put
deli
it through
chicken
the
still.
actually
Yeah.
deli. So that's where I think that one goes. I'm not as big of a roast beef fan. I haven't had, which this is a big one that I know, like pastrami. I haven't had really pastrami, so I can't
like
really
pastrami.
speak
Yeah.
on that. And then I think I'm trying to think of all the ones I've really had. I'm not a big. I know this happens in deli sandwiches. And I think we touched on this before. I'm not a big corned beef guy.
Yeah.
And then I think I was so grossed out from my dad with bologna for so many years that like that can't even come into question there. But
Some fried bologna sandwich.
that
That's
was
what's
his
that
thing,
right
man.
there.
That's some good stuff, Maynard. That's what he used to always tell me. Is like some fried bologna
If you
sandwiches.
want
like
a
that is-
really good low carb snack, hard salami, cream cheese, and a pickle. That's a good low carb.
cream cheese.
Yeah, not a ton of cream cheese. Like I would say if you take you have like the block, maybe like a little more than like an eighth of an inch, kind of, you know what I mean? And you put that, spread that on the slice of cream cheese, and you got to take the good dill pickles and you cut them in half, and then that fits right in that slice of salami. That's money in the bank.
So what I might have to do, since I'm not a big pickle guy, but I've said I like the pickle juice. What I might do is almost mix in a little pickle juice with the cream cheese and stir it
yeah.
up, and then put that
Good
in
play.
there, so I get the flavor of that.
That's a good play.
So
Yep.
one of the reasons I mentioned the New York bagels is give me that. I love their schmear of cream cheese, where it's like
It is a
as
schmear.
thick as the bagel. You know what I mean? So like
they don't
it'd be-
cheat you
it'd
on the
be-
cream cheese.
it'd be hard for me when you said just a thin slice of
Yeah.
cream cheese to not overdo it on there.
Yeah.
So.
So now, all right, Mount Rushmore of Nicolas Cage movies.
This is where I'm in trouble because I think I've seen two, which
All
is
right,
crazy.
Do you want me to go then?
Which is so funny because I think I saw like touching on our buddy Matt Keller is like the prompt, and I was like, what the hell is he talking about? And so I looked into like what you had said, and then the thing is like the running joke is Nicolas Cage is in he has a million movies, and I just was like, I've seen what is it, Hell Rider?
Yeah, Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
And then there were a few that I had like seen bits and pieces of, like Gone in 60 Seconds. I like that one up there. I haven't seen any of the National Treasure movies,
I haven't either.
which
Yeah.
I know those were super popular. I've seen more clips of Nicolas Cage movies probably than any other actor, but I've never seen an actual. So I'll kind of let you kind of take over.
Well, he's
more
got like
on
the
this
most
one.
famous like meme in the world right now, and has been for a while. That Pedro Pascal.
Yes, I love,
the,
and I use that. I send that to people all the time.
the movie. I think the movie's called "The Weight of Immense Talent" or something like that. I've never seen it. I'm a big Pedro Pascal guy, so
Yeah.
yeah. All right, so my top four are Con Air, Lord of War, The Rock, and then Face Off. Those are my top four. So
Okay.
have you seen any of those?
Are you a big Nick Cage fan, I'll say? Or have you just seen the
I
movies?
mean, I don't seek out his movies, but he is in a lot of movies that I like, so I don't know
But isn't
what that says about me. Because I
isn't
also
that-
really like Gone in 60 Seconds. I'm
Isn't that
sure
kind of
there
the
are some
running
other.
joke though? He's in a lot of movies, but he's not the greatest
Well,
of
he spent a lot of
actors,
money.
really.
I mean, the dude wasted so much money in his career. He spent $100,000 to buy a grave site in New Orleans, and we actually have toured that cemetery where he is going to be entombed, and it's wild, man.
Is it extravagant, like over the
No, it's
top and
just
everything?
weird. It's like a pyramid, but it's only like 6 feet tall, and you have to see it. I'm sure you can look it up online if you just Google Nick Cage cemetery.
Well, it's also the weirdest thing going to visit a cemetery for somebody who's still alive.
Yeah, and I don't know if he
That's
still owns it. I know he's having some money problems, so maybe he sold it, but I'm sure he sold it
probably
at a
why he's
loss.
doing all these movies still. Yeah,
All right, we got
that's
to
funny.
run through these. This is DH is gonna hate this episode. Okay, all right, dude of beer. We're still on Reddit now. Dude of
Okay.
beer. Need a finisher. Won't fix anything without finishing. Nick Cage movies: Raising Arizona, Con Air, and Lord of War. This is more of a sandwich recommendation than just a straight deli meat, but smoked turkey, shaved razor thin with melted Swiss on a baguette and toasted. That is
Yeah,
strong.
yeah. Sometimes keeping it simple is the best way to go.
Yes. So there was a bit of a conversation here. Prescription Blue Jay 25 said, "Are we going with put the bunny back in the box, which is from Con Air, or from The Rock? Your best losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and f the prom queen," which was a Sean Connery line from The Rock, but it's still a banger of a line.
That is a great line.
If I'm going with those two, I'm going with put the bunny back in the box just because it's so absurd. Although the Connery one is pretty classic.
It is classic, but yeah,
Yeah. Photo dive guy said, "I'll be taking these Huggies and whatever cash you got." I think that might be Raising Arizona, although I don't recognize that line. So don't crucify me, everyone. I chipped in with Never Go to War, especially with yourself. That's from Lord of War, which is a solid flick based on like true events, although it's not a true story. And then Prescription Blue Jay said, "I don't see how effing the prom queen quote loses, but I'll settle for the bunny in the box." Flip flop kitten hands. Watts said it best post game. We're actually playing soccer now. Maybe if we can ever get healthy or bring in new players that can stay fit or finish, we can start winning games. We touched on that. Practical Shape 7453 is the hit. Is the hot salami? I think that's what it is. Is the hot salami from Joy's a deli meat? If so, yes, I agreed with that one. All the hot salami, please. Chilagmite. Bummed but not shocked. Winning away is hard. A point would have been great. The movies: Raising Arizona, Con Air, Ghost Rider, and National Treasure. The meats: pepper turkey, Genoa salami, maple ham, but not all together. That's a good shout because if
Ooh,
you
maple
mix up your
ham.
flavor profiles in your meats, maple ham. I'm not a big ham guy, but I do like maple.
Would
So,
you go with like deli? Do you think like the whole sweet and spicy would work? Mixing
oh,
different
it
meats?
does. Yeah, it
Does
does.
it?
But you got to be careful. You don't want too much, okay? Too
No,
much.
no, no, no.
Educator Guilty 82.99 went to the Battlehawk playoff, and that sucked. Saw City was up 1-0. That raised my
Oh
spirits.
no.
And then saw 1-1 and said, "Well, we'll lose this one too because we always do. St. Louis sports is so frustrating right now. We have the talent, we have the fans, but we just fizzle out when it matters." Mr.
Yeah.
Mr. Pancakes. He's new. We need a poacher, just a stone cold cherry picker. We need Geo.
Yeah.
I don't know if Geo is the poacher that you're looking for,
No, I don't. I don't think
but
that would be what your
yeah,
mindset would be as far as a poacher goes.
yeah.
But first off, I want to clip that soundbite as well for any time we get somebody new on Reddit. Like he's new. Like it just falls in there. That's
We
perfect.
rip everything off of the morning after. If you didn't already know that, that's basically
Oh really?
it.
Because I
Yeah,
I didn't know
yeah,
that. So
yeah. We don't have any original ideas. Unmistakable error. Klaus had a horrible game. Should have scored 2 goals. I think horrible's a bit strong. He should have scored at least one, but I wouldn't say it was a horrible game.
I think the
They
tough
call me
thing for Klaus is whenever he doesn't score, it automatically negates anything else he did
Yeah,
positive
yeah.
on the
The,
field.
the whole DP moniker, yeah, it doesn't help him any.
Or just the striker, because there were many times where I loved his
Mm-hmm.
work rate. It was even like a bad touch, but he still outworked them to retain possession, and like that type of
Yep.
stuff goes unnoticed. because of the glaring he should add a couple.
All right. They call me Sly Fox checked in. I get the frustration, especially given this season so far, and I watched the last 25 minutes of that game, waiting for the second goal to come, as it always does. But am I crazy to look at the first hour of the match and have some hope? We don't think so. We made one of the best teams in the conference look silly. Yes, we missed some goals in a comically demoralizing way, usually only reserved for when I'm playing FIFA. Yet, we created more chances and controlled the game in the first half more than any other time this season. I have faith in Critchley. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt one more time to Lutz and ownership, who I hope open the wallet this summer, though with this season already likely lost. KC's playoff or CK. Oh, Carolyn Kindle. I'm sorry. Thought he was throwing some hate at Kansas City. Carolyn Kindle's playoff or bust expectation better become a reality next season from start to finish. Feeling the pain this week, you have 25 yards barefoot over one of the following: Legos, rocks, or sun-baked asphalt. What's your choice?
Ooh. Right away, the sun-baked asphalt's out. Like that one, just you reading it and thinking barefoot across that hurt. So, rocks, I think you can, if you play your footing right, you can be all right. I think as parents, we've all, though, stepped on a ton of Legos.
But how jagged are these rocks? That's the thing. It's not like we're talking about like smooth river stones.
Right. I'm just trying to think of like what would be the worst case scenario of rocks. The thing is I've grew up on like walking down rocked
let's say lava rocks.
Dirt road. Well, lava rocks. I mean, you're throwing heat into the factory.
No. Like the landscape lava rocks. Not like rocks. Okay. Not like actual lava.
I was like, man, that would really hurt. So yeah, those are tricky. The thing with Legos, though, I don't know. Like,
I'm going baked asphalt.
Rocks.
I'm going baked asphalt.
What?
25 yards. I can speed walk 25 yards. It's sun-baked asphalt. I have fairly tough feet from years of soccer shoe abuse. I can handle the baked asphalt for 25 yards.
Not without skin on the bottom of your feet. Here's the other thing that you're not taking into consideration is the repercussions post 25-yard walk. If you're dealing with blisters and exposed skin, that's a different thing. If you take your time across 25 yards, lava rocks, Legos,
but you can't power through stabbing pain. I can get halfway across that 25 yards before I even recognize the heat.
Is there almost needs to be like some like parameters put
like
in place.
Like a speed limit? There's a speed limit.
A speed limit, yeah. But like something to where it's like, I feel like speed walking rules where 1 foot has to be planted at all time would be a little, you could still get away with that as far as that goes. But yeah, I almost feel like rather than distance, the tougher thing would be time. Like you must spend this amount of time
90
walking
seconds
through it.
Walking, something like that.
25, because now that you say that, you can get across, but man, I still know that there's been, you think about even like times when you're just trying to get to the water at the beach, and you got to do those, like you're dragging the chairs and the kids just being like, dude, will you come on? And like that can be rough. I think I'm still going rocks. I think I'm going rocks just because I have more experience doing that, and I kind of worked my way on like how I can walk my way across. Okay. And that's then fair. Legos as a parent, that's just a number of norm. But you can't anticipate the Lego.
No. Last one on Reddit from Nerdcast, our buddies at Nerdcast. The movies Con Air, Raising Arizona, Pig, which I've never seen before and I hadn't heard of yet till today, and then The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, which we just talked about with Pedro Pascal. They also added Lutz gets a lot of rightful hate, but shouldn't the training staff get their share? Training injuries and lack of conditioning have become a recurring thing this season. I don't know. I think that's all part of the. That's all part of preseason, and that's all part of the training program, which the coach is the one that puts together, and the staff all together. So I think it's unfair to just put that on the training staff.
Yeah, I don't put that on the training. Here's the thing I'll say. If it continues throughout the year, then you know it's not a coaching issue. It's more a training staff,
Yeah.
training the way they're carrying it out. If Critch comes in and we start to see less and less, here's the thing. We were seeing majority of these injuries happening on Fridays, late Fridays. And then we kept saying, like, why are they going so hard? I don't feel like that's more on the training staff as much as
Yeah.
it was Olaf putting that in there. So I don't think it's as
Yeah.
much on the training staff unless they're letting the players lag on like recovery and hydration and all those
Yeah.
things that come with that type of stuff. So to me, it's not really on the training staff as much as, to your point,
Yep.
the program put into place by the coach.
Yeah. I had one before we speed run through these not Reddit Discord submissions. Sorry, we're running late here. Before we run through, there was my wife Katie on the offensive 13 brought up last week. I needed a correction when we were talking about Mario characters, and maybe it could have been 2 weeks ago. Even whenever we were talking about Waluigi, I think I made reference to the little brown guys, or you may have made the reference to the little brown guys, and I called them thwomps. Thwomps,
Yeah.
I think those are not thwomps. The little brown guys
So
are called goombas.
thwomps are the okay, because thwomps are the rigid things that crash down.
Yes,
right.
the little
That you gotta
brown
time
guys,
and then they go
the
back
little
up.
brown guys are called goombas. So I
Goom-
would like to humbly apologize to the goombas and to the Mario folks out there for making that mistake.
What
So-
a battle. Goombas versus Oompa Loompas. Like, what a name battle just going on right there
That's
that it
great.
would have been, too.
Okay, so now that I'm looking at the prompt, and I'm glad this is different for Discord. So the prompt for the sandwich meats was actually favorite, worst, overrated, and underrated, and that came from KVK. So we'll start with Amy Murr. Favorite is turkey, worst is Braunschweiger, overrated is salami. It couldn't just be any more wrong there. And underrated is ham, specifically this jambon beurre. She just demolished. Amy Murr is in France right now. We'll talk more about that later because
Oh, wow.
yeah. We'll talk more about that a little later. KVK,
What is Braunschweiger?
trash meat,
Okay.
like food, like meat that people like put medicine for their dogs in. Like it's just
Okay.
awful. It's old man
Okay.
meat, basically.
Okay. Gotcha.
KVK's favorite is chicken. Worst is corned beef. Overrated is pastrami. Underrated is prosciutto. God, I love prosciutto, but I don't know if I've ever had it on a sandwich before. It sounds really
No,
good though.
I haven't had a sandwich.
Fando Beth, favorite is roast beef, worst is corned beef, overrated is pastrami, underrated is turkey. I think my favorite and underrated selections may go hand in hand. Yeah, I'll give you that one. Let's see. S. Crow chimed in about Joya's because we had a little back and forth about hard salami versus Joya's salami because it was critical. Let's see. Kyle's standing with Amy Murr. It's amazing that two people that I like could be this wrong. Called the Italian the laziest sandwich. That's a shot. I don't know about all that. Salami and pepperoni. Yeah, that's delicious. I already gave you my favorite four Nick Cage flicks. Amy said her husband loves Raising Arizona, but she generally finds Nick Cage and Holly Hunter to have annoying voices. She's just not making friends on this podcast, I can tell you right now. Maybe she may have to stay in France. Hot takes. She said she thinks she enjoyed Ghost Rider and Kick-Ass. Soccer Zombie, Con
Oh,
Air.
Kick-Ass, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
Con
seen
Air.
Kick-Ass.
This is from Soccer Zombie. Con Air, The Rock, and Raising Arizona. And a hot take alert, Fast Times at Ridgemount High. CBP's Wind Talkers, Con Air, National Treasures, and Rock. It makes me feel so good about myself that I picked Con Air as my number one, and everyone has listed that still.
so
It's such a bad movie, but
So what
yeah.
I've taken out of this is like of all things that if I'm gonna see like go out and see a Nick Cage movie, I'm just gonna go see Con Air because that has been
Con Air's got
the
a bunch of
repetitive.
people in it too. Like it's got Ving Rhames is in it, John Malkovich is in it, John Cusack is in it. It's got like not like super A-list actors, but it's got
enough of a supporting cast.
yeah, it's got a good supporting cast. Like I said, it's really not a good movie, but it was entertaining. It was one of those like first rated R movies that I saw when I was a teenager, so it's got a
Yeah.
special place in my heart.
Special place. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it still stands up. KVK with Snake Eyes, National Treasure, Kick Ass, and The Rock. Fando Beth, Con Air, National Treasure, G-Force. It's an underrated animated. And City of Angels. This is our first City of Angels mention. City of Angels is known more for, spoiler alert, the ending where the dude gets run over by a bus. Does a girl get run over? Somebody gets run over by a bus at the end. It's a horrible ending. And the song, which was the Goo Goo Dolls song that you were talking about, one hit wonders. Like I wouldn't say that that's a one hit wonder band, but that was like it's a great '90s song. Let's put it that way.
Oh, gotcha.
Iris, I think that's Iris. Is that one?
Yeah, I was gonna say probably. I mean, they have
Yeah.
way more hits, but yeah, Iris was
Yeah.
their biggest one for sure.
Fet Lord Colton, I see the good and the bad in this match. Played possession and attacking the first half well and had some great chances. Stopped by a keeper playing out of his mind. Second half started well, but in true City fashion, after breaking through and getting the go-ahead goal, we conceded not once but twice. Definitely missing having the depth of player quality to bring in the second half. All in all, we played well for the most of the match. Against a cup contender, I still take it as progress from what we had with Ola. Hey, first five, last five, next five, and they got burnt on next five. We talk about that seemingly every week.
Yep.
And then I floated the Sly Fox walking challenge over to them. Tom Franklin picks the Rocks. Amy Murr picked Rocks, no question. Soccer Zombie said you can at least look down and find the rocks that will hurt the least. Lego and molten asphalt don't give you a choice. That's a solid point.
Yep.
Lady Series Jesse thinks the announcers jinxed us in the 75th minute. Chris said, asphalt for me, I'll take large strides and quick on the feet. I'll pay for it later, but in the moment it'll be better, I think. CBP said asphalt, used to walking on it when it's 300 plus from the plant. Jay Clem said, okay, so I have to walk, no running. That's a thinker. If rocks, are they hot or as well or just rocks? I think they're probably just room temperature. Fet Lord Colton said rocks without a doubt. Fando Beth wants Taylor Twellman to shut up like the rest of us do. She also wants to know if she gets to keep the Legos after walking on them. Getting to keep the Legos would be a game changer.
Yeah.
And then the last one we'll have, because Colton had this one, he directed to you and to me. If you could bring back one fast food item from the dead, what would it be? And Chris weighed in with the bacon cheddar cheesy gordita crunch. One fast food item that you could bring back from the dead, Eric Cole. Mine is the Jack in the Box bacon and cheddar potato wedges. Ever since they got rid of those and went to the bacon and cheddar fries, Jack in the Box has gone right downhill.
So I'm not a big fast food guy, but I think there was rumors of it coming back, and I don't know if it is back or not. But the snack wrap at McDonald's, like that was like back in the day something that
Snack
like
wraps. Yep.
it was just like. Plus, it was I think it was even on the dollar menu back then, so it was like a cheap thing. You could get a couple of them, and like it was great tasting. Like. Yeah, to me, and that was the thing that like people would always say, bring it back, bring it back. So I feel like a lot of people were, again, it may be back. I know there was like talks of it coming back. I don't know if it is back, but that one to me, like when I got fast food, like that was something that was like a regular for me. Cause again, I think it was on the dollar menu. So what I loved about it is it could be a great, like, we'll call it a warm up to your actual meal, like, or an accompaniment to your meal. You could get that with whatever meal you got, and it was just right amount to not overfill you, and tasted great back then.
Yeah, I remember the snack wrap. That was good stuff too. So, yeah, that one was really only for us. So, last thing is what it wasn't an actual submission, but I did see where Amy was over. I believe she's in France. Amy Murr. 127 made us those awesome bracelets, and it seems like a really great person. Have met her a couple times. She didn't mean to wake up to watch the City game, but she was jet lagged, so she woke up on accident and watched the City game. And coming from the same place where Katie and I last year when we were in Ireland stayed up to watch City play, only to lose 2-0 and then have that day absolutely destroyed because we didn't get to bed till about 5 o'clock in the morning. I feel your pain, Amy, but we appreciate the dedication to fandom. So
yes,
those are your Felix's Pizza Pub South End submissions, brought to you by Felix's Pizza Pub.
Love it. We will finish with our road dog. We'll call him Matthew Keller because he chimed in with his stuff at the end. But he said, "Morning, y'all. So definitely not a great game. I was happy with how much we are attacking the goal, but crying out loud, we've really got to freaking finish. We could have been up 2 goals before they even got theirs. Also, got to give a big shout out to Akil Watts. As a fellow Fort Wayne native, it's always great to see someone do good. That is always cool when you see somebody like from your hometown, no matter what, team do something. Now for submissions. Number 1, so I'm guessing these are the Nick Cage movies. He said The Rock, Con Air, and Ghost Rider. And then number 2, he said honey cured ham, prosciutto, Genoa salami, capicola. I love my pork
capicola.
deli
I
meats.
capicola.
I don't think capicola was brought up throughout that one.
No,
so
that's a
kind of
good
unique
one.
On that one.
That's an underrated one. That one will find its way into some Italian style sandwiches, but it's really good. Salty, smoked, cured, good stuff.
I would love to know, Matthew Keller, as a follow-up to you for maybe next week, let us know, since you're a traveler, where you think the best deli sandwiches come from.
Yeah.
That would be...
Tell us about... I want to know about... I feel like we know enough about the St. Louis scene. I want to know about some places that he's been that we got to check out deli scene-wise, for sure.
Yes. So send that in next week, buddy. So... Those are your Felix's Pizza Pub South End submissions. Thank you again for sending them in. Make sure you go check them out again at 6401 Clayton Avenue in Dogtown, especially maybe this weekend. If you can't be in City Park, that's the best place to go because they are an official City on Tap bar. So we want to thank them as well as all our sponsors, including Ready to Live Wellness. Make sure you check them out at 1530 South Kings Highway Boulevard or online at R2L Wellness, as well as our studio sponsor, Warrior Logo Wear. Check them out at 12 East Main Street in Mascoutah, Illinois. We kicked off this episode with our STL Kolache preview, brought to you by STL Kolache. Check them out at 1530 South Kirkwood Road in St. Louis. And earlier this week, we had those Elite news and notes from the back post, brought to you by Elite FT. Check them out at 101 The Game Drive in Glen Carbon, Illinois, and as well at EliteFT.com. So, another great episode for myself, Eric Cole, for the Monday Morning center back, Dave Wyckoff, and for our buddy DH David Heck. You've been listening to South End Supporters. We'll see you next week, and until then, let's go City.